Cussing Lung, an artist based out of Hong Kong, and back in 2015 he creates a character for a series of picture books called The Monsters. The little elf-looking creature, pointy ears, jagged teeth, kind of unsettling honestly, definitely not conventionally cute. He names it LABUBU. For years, basically nothing happens with it. A Chinese toy company called Pop Mart picks it up in 2019 and starts selling it as a collectible figure, blind box style, meaning you don't know exactly which version you're getting until you open it. That's Pop Mart's whole business model actually. They do this with a bunch of different characters, not just LABUBU, and for a few years it just kind of simmers along quietly. Not nothing, but not a phenomenon either. Then in April 2024, a massive K-pop star with over 100 million followers posts a photo online with one of these LABUBU plush things clipped to her bag as a charm. And almost instantly, Pop Mart's sales in Southeast Asia jumped more than 30% that same week. Not that month, that week. Stores start selling out immediately. Resale prices on the secondary market shoot up as much as 400%. From there it just snowballs. More celebrities start getting photographed with one after another, a whole chain of them. Every time a huge name gets seen with this weird little monster hanging off their designer bag, it's basically free advertising to their entire fan base. And Pop Mart, to their credit, understood exactly what kind of moment this was and leaned all the way into it. They kept drops limited, small batches released unpredictably, which meant if you actually wanted one, you had to be paying attention and moving fast. This is a pretty old trick in toy marketing, engineered scarcity, but it worked incredibly well here because TikTok turned every single unboxing into content. There's been over 1.6 million posts using the LABUBU hashtag. People filming themselves opening the box, reacting, sometimes genuinely disappointed if they didn't get the version they wanted, which somehow made it even more addictive to watch. The scarcity thing got so intense it actually became a safety problem. In Singapore, people were lining up for hours at a toy convention, and there were literal theft warnings issued because people were trying to steal them out of other people's bags. South Korea had to temporarily pause sales over safety concerns. And in the UK, in May 2025, Pop Mart stopped selling the plush versions in physical stores entirely after fights broke out between customers. They moved everything online after that. Think about that for a second. A stuffed toy caused actual physical fights in stores. That's how intense this got. The money behind all this is honestly kind of staggering. Pop Mart's revenue basically doubled in 2024 to almost $2 billion. Then in just the first half of 2025 alone, revenue hit close to $2 billion again, a 204% jump year over year, with profit up almost 400% compared to the same period the year before. By mid-2025, Pop Mart's market cap had crossed $40 billion, which is genuinely more than Hasbro, more than Sanrio, who makes Hello Kitty, more than Mattel, who makes Barbie. A Chinese blind box toy company was suddenly worth more than the companies behind some of the most recognizable toy brands on the planet. There's even a weirder detail buried in here. In June 2024, someone paid over $170,000 at auction for a life-size LABUBU piece. Not a regular one. An art piece, basically, but still, that's an insane number for what started as an illustration in a picture book 9 years earlier. It even ended up touching actual diplomacy, which is a strange sentence to type. When UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer visited China in January 2026, part of the trade discussions with Pop Mart resulted in them agreeing to open a European headquarters in London, plus several new UK stores. Starmer reportedly picked up a LABUBU for his own kids while he was there. A toy company's viral hit became part of actual government trade diplomacy. That's not normal. So where's the fall in all this? Because it's coming, and it's coming from the most predictable direction possible. Pop Mart did the thing almost every viral product eventually does once demand goes vertical. They scaled up production hard, something like tenfold, going from limited scarce drops to tens of millions of units a month, which makes sense from a pure revenue standpoint. More units means more sales. But it directly attacks the exact thing that made the product desirable in the first place. Scarcity was the whole engine here. Once everyone can just walk in and buy one whenever they want, the resale market collapses. Because why would you pay a reseller a huge markup for something you can just buy retail? And that's exactly what happened. Resale prices on a lot of models dropped more than 50%. Some versions actually started selling below their original retail price on the secondary market, which if you're a collector is basically the worst possible signal. It means the thing you bought as an investment is now worth less than what you paid. Then came the second half of 2025 earnings report, and even though the numbers were still technically enormous, they didn't hit the insane growth expectations investors had gotten used to. Shares dropped more than 20% in a single day after that report. By around March 2026, Pop Mart had lost something like $33 billion in market value from its peak. Pop Mart's CEO tried to reassure investors, pointing out that even without LABUBU specifically, the company was still growing fast across its other toy lines, and that they're trying to diversify instead of leaning on one character forever, which is honestly the smart move, but it also kind of proves the point. When your entire trillion-dollar hype cycle depends on one specific toy staying cool, you're always one slow quarter away from the market deciding the moment's over. By early 2026, most reports describe the LABUBU market as having entered a stabilization phase. Not dead, not gone, just normal. Common versions trading in a reasonable $25 to $60 range instead of the insane resale spikes from a year earlier. Rare limited editions still command real money, a few $100s for the right variant, but the absolute mania, the fights in stores, the 400% overnight markups, that part seems to be over. So is this actually a fall the way Wix or Jaguar had a fall? Not really, not financially. Pop Mart is still a massive profitable company, but culturally it's a pretty textbook example of what happens when a scarcity-driven hype cycle meets its own success. The thing that made LABUBU special was that you couldn't easily get one. The moment Pop Mart solved that problem by making millions more of them, they also solved away the exact reason people wanted one in the first place. Kind of a strange trade to make. Fix the supply problem, lose the magic that the shortage created.